Weekly.
Here's the one that wasn't ready. After all that.
This segment is brought to you by Napsys, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsys.com. And by Pony Express, check out the Community Edition and turn your Nexus 7 into a lean, mean pen testing machine for all those hard-to-reach places. There's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com. And by Black Hills Information Security, the leaders in penetration testing and active defense. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com to request a quote today.
Wow, there was a stutter
It's
there.
like my
my
teleprompter went black, so I didn't know what to say.
that stops you any other week?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I don't know whether I should be offended as the token Black Hills employee.
Wow, I thought you were going to say something completely different. There.
Yeah, what?
As
Larry,
the
please
token,
do share.
As the token.
Token Australian?
No, token Black Hills Information
Security.
Yeah.
That's like saying bit shift, right?
Did you guys read this article from Shania on attack attribution in cyberspace? I think it's very...
I didn't, but
I had a whole bunch of attribution stories, and I didn't put them in. The Gruck had a great post on attribution. Schneier had a good post on attribution. Cryptia has had some good stuff on attribution. And every time I feel compelled to wade into this attribution bullshit, instead I log onto one of my Linux servers and type yum-y update, or I fire up a patch management platform or log onto a box and update stuff because it's more productive.
Your stuff must be really up to date.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually screwed up for some of my test scans because I didn't have enough red and purple and yellow stripes in the scanner. I was like, oh right, I left that vulnerable so I'd have pretty colors. But yeah, because in the end result is if I were a global entertainment industry that didn't cover the basics, this could be informative for me, maybe. If I were law enforcement, this would certainly be it. It's fun. It'll be a topic of conversation at cons. But I could, instead of wasting my time on that, I can update my stuff. But no, Schneier did have a good article, as did several others.
This whole trying to point at attribution thing, Paul, is very interesting.
You point at who now?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's part of it is the reaction, and there's been some legitimate stuff, and some people have had some childish name calling when. Circumstantially, it certainly could be North Korea or North Korean sympathetic or whatever. We don't know. But there are a lot of people who think we should just trust what the FBI tells us. There are a lot of people who believe it can't be true if the FBI tells us. And rather than, it's like, attribution's hard. I mean,
well, what if another three-letter government agency, not the FBI, had intelligence from spying on North Korea that it was in fact them?
So false flag stuff is for real. I'm not full blown paranoia, but this, and I'm not saying that any of our three-letter agencies did it, but it would, if somebody wanted to manipulate their
Tom Clancy novel now. So wait a minute, we made it look, we hacked into North Korea, and then from North Korea.
Well, okay, so all right, if we're gonna go Tom Clancy or whatever,
well, we
right?
just need an excuse.
If we're gonna go
sanctions.
paranoid, they're already sanctioned up to the eyeballs anyway, right?
Right.
But if we need another political reason to focus on North Korea, because, for example, maybe shit isn't going so well. If, for example, which is not the case now, because the rest of the fucking planet's under control. But if there was stuff we didn't want people to look at in the rest of the world or at home, it would be handy to have an easy scapegoat, right? And so that's when. On the other hand, if I were I won't say another, Western, but a media conglomerate, and I got, in my opinion, screwed by Sony on a deal, I could imagine them hiring people to attack them and make it look like it was somebody else. We don't know enough. I can't blame. If I'm going to give the FBI the benefit of the doubt, they're not going to give us all the information they've got. I'm skeptical, but I'm old enough that, I'll have a lot more faith in what the FBI tells me from a political level once they realize that they need to scrape Sandblast Hoover's name off everything and admit that he was a psychopath and a sociopath and a pervert.
I thought he was just a cross-dresser.
No, he was. He was.
So that's part of it, right?
Yeah, he wasn't a nice person. He built the empire that's there. As I've said many times, most of us in this industry have dealt with or know people in all of these three-letter agencies. Sometimes we don't even know that they're in there for a while, but and there are a lot of hardworking people. It's as soon as you reach that senior management political level where I stop having faith in them, and especially if there's politics, which is why Yum-Y update
Is more productive.
Well, Schneider also says that American history is littered with examples of claimed secret intelligence pointing us towards aggression against
Remember
other
the
countries.
Maine, Gulf of Tonkin, Yellow Cake.
He remembers all of them personally.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, exactly.
As I said, he remembers them all personally.
All right, so what
The Lusitania!
in Egypt with the pharaohs. Oh wait.
So what amuses me in all this is
Those Trojans and their stupid horse.
if you look at attribution from a perspective of where did the traffic come from, we know in our community the traffic can come from anywhere, right? Furthermore,
Paul, you recall that our friend Bob found all sorts of. Never mind. Open.
Vulnerable. There was some software that you can use to find vulnerabilities in things. And if you pointed at other countries, the communism in
Former
Bob,
communist.
no.
Oh.
And Bob, I think broke an end user
former.
license agreement. I think Bob broke an end user
places where you maybe could get tea and kung fu originate from, and you pointed at those kind of countries. Find vulnerabilities which you could potentially exploit that then you could use to break into other countries.
Right. And you could confirm that on one or two or maybe 4 Class Bs.
One or two or 400,000 IP addresses.
I was just going to point out that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a.k.a. North Korea, has allocated from APNIC exactly a /22.
Yes, they do. And where does all of their traffic route through? China.
China.
Oh.
And the great thing is all the traffic coming out of China is so clean, it'll be easy to sort that stuff out.
Exactly. So, it's like,
again, Windows Update, whatever.
I think Jack basically retreats to his happy place.
Yes.
And I've got to applaud him for that.
All right, so if we're going on this whole attribution thing,
Frankie's Tiki Room in Las Vegas is my happy place.
I know.
I know.
Yes, brother. Nice.
Aggie, that's my happy place too.
So if we're trying to move this along a little bit, I know Paul's talking about this whole attribution thing, and we jumped on Sony. My story number 6 is I know more Sony, but I just saw today that there was an article out there that Sony is claiming that this massive attack and all this BS that's going on actually won't incur any financial hit to their operation.
What?
I would, if they define it as long term, I would believe that. I mean, there's got to be.
I think they're even
gotta
saying
be a
the short term.
short-term hit.
I think they're saying even in the short term.
Well, you know what? It depends. All those people that they sent home and wouldn't let work, did they pay them or did they just furlough them?
Either way, if they
if they furloughed them, then they saved all sorts of money right there.
If they sent them home and even paid them, the wheels really didn't stop. the movies were still in the movie theater. Production on all of the other films were still happening. The movie got released, and people went and saw it on Christmas Day, and they gave it away as ability to download for a short fee, and it was available on.
Oh, you can get it now on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon and pay for it. You can get it on Fios on demand.
Wait, Larry.
Yeah.
Be specific for a minute. Are we talking Sony, the movie industry alone, or are we talking Sony, the parent company, which is a much larger conglomerate with a lot more reach?
I didn't read the article well enough in depth enough to comment whether they said it was the entire company as a whole or just that particular entertainment division. But even looking at it just from the entertainment division standpoint, I think they're absolutely right. I don't think that they took any financial hit from this, and no presses or bad presses press, and people want to now go see the movie because it was, quote, such an uproar.
So
He is so the guy that's quoted here is the president of Sony Corporation, CEO of Sony Corporation.
Yep.
So there might be short-term pain to SPE, Sony Pictures Entertainment, but I don't think that there's long-term damage to Sony Pictures Entertainment.
That, and I don't think there's probably going to be a whole heck of a lot of short-term pain on Sony Pictures.
No,
I really don't.
It's they bounced back, and even though they got taken out again, the entertainment, the gaming platform, and the other things that have been DDoSed, they bounced back pretty well on those too. And it is rare that there's long-term damage from these breaches, and it's one of the things. If you look at some of the PR news wires and other things for PR news wires for the PR industry, they advise people to say nothing and ignore it until it reaches the news and say as little as possible, because it'll just blow over, because breaches are no big deal. And history is proving them right, and it means that we in security kind of have to stop our Chicken Little stuff and be rational about what we say.
Yep. So exactly to my point, Jack, the thing is that if there's going to be no long-term or maybe potentially even no short-term financial impact to some of these types of things, then how can we start justifying from a defender's perspective the need for improved security monitoring, any of this type of stuff, when the head of Sony comes out and says, we got that shit hacked out of us and no big deal. It's not going to hurt our bottom line. How do we argue for them more?
Larry, maybe it's worse. It sort of begs the question. Maybe this is a publicity stunt for long-term gain.
Maybe. But if that's the case, then it's really hurting our industry, in my opinion. That now, how do we go and argue for better defenses when clearly some of the biggest names have gotten owned 6 ways to Sunday, and we're good, no financial problem. How do we go and argue that we need more security? Well, apparently this really big company didn't need more security, and they're okay.
Yeah, but okay is put it in perspective. What's okay for Sony
is not necessarily okay for us. But
they can absorb some of that because they're a large corporation.
Absolutely.
There are others that can't not absorb that kind of thing.
That said, there are a lot of people that don't think as clearly as you just said that.
With the exception of some of what comes out of Sony Picture Entertainment's documentary thing, there's no intellectual in the intellectual property that they stand to lose. Let me point to the interview as an example.
Say you saw the movie?
No, I did not see the movie. And if you haven't seen any links on the internet to the movie, the interview, don't click them. It could star Seth Rogen.
How do you know this, Jack?
Not a fan.
No? What's the one where he knocked up? Was that was Seth Rogen? That was funny.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Seth Rogen movie.
It was.
I don't know.
It was mildly amusing. I'll just rewatch Animal House anytime I feel the need for some of that sort of humor, and I'll see something done well.
That I don't think I was born when that movie came out, Jack. Just saying.
77.
That's the year I was born.
Pineapple Express was another one that I haven't seen.
But don't
That
you think?
sounds
I
like
mean,
great.
this particular instance, don't you think that this was probably one of the most unusual ones from a press perspective?
Oh, it
because-
was bizarre. How many other breaches involve the President of the United States
Exactly.
second guessing you and saying you got it wrong? I mean,
Well, right. I mean, the political ties and the implications and the spin and everything else is. I mean, this is not your run of the mill breach, even from the perspective of a large corporation. It was just had too many hooks into too many different things.
Okay, so he apparently did a short in 2014 that
Yeah.
seems vaguely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that interests
Oh.
you, Larry. I
Well,
see.
I mean, just because of the title alone, you can't judge a book by its cover. But
That title interests you. Cops come, dicks, and flying. Interests you, huh?
so
Well,
anyway,
you got to keep your
Sorry.
options.
So
You got to keep
anyway,
your
Well,
options
next
open.
story.
my story number 1
Trunk
and
of
2.
I didn't even get to finish. Never mind.
Yeah, we're finished. My story number 1, Microsoft is pulling the free Advanced Notification Service, or ANS. They claim it's evolving, which pretty much means it's going away unless you give them money.
Nice.
That's, they give you the heads up on what's coming in the next patch release.
So they pulled this
And-
one out of their ANS?
They pulled it out of their ANS, all right. And the great thing is it's okay because, according to Microsoft, of course, everybody uses WSUS or SCCM or some other patch management platform, and so it doesn't matter. Or everybody at home uses automatic updates, so nobody needs to know in advance. Thankfully, there haven't been any problems with Microsoft updates. Now, some of my stories are a little older because we've been gone for a few weeks, but my story number 2 is actually 3 links. An article about Microsoft update blunders being out of control, and then a couple of very specific examples. One where somebody actually had to change the title of their post or their article because they referred to one of the patches as being malware. And so he, after abuse, probably from the legal department, changed it to badware because he felt that a Windows 7 patch that disabled graphics drivers updates and broke Windows Defender was problematic.
Nah.
And I don't know what's happened at Microsoft, and it's too close together to actually, a company that size doesn't move this fast, but the dissolution of the Trustworthy Computing Group, some of the people that are no longer at Microsoft because of that dissolution, and this, Ballmer needs to come back and throw some chairs.
Nice.
Because
So
that's the only good news that I've found out of the train wreck of Microsoft updates lately is that a lot of organizations have been forced to use patch management platforms because it's the easiest way to unwind, to test in a controlled manner, and to unwind patches. And also, a lot of folks ignore it and they patch anyway and hope for the best.
Yep.
But on some of the mail lists I'm on, they cringe towards Patch Tuesday and then rant for 4 to 6 weeks afterwards over the response. And the responses from Microsoft are getting worse and worse in many cases. And so the idea that they would take away advanced notification, I kind of get it, but it's also crap. And it's really pushing people to use anything they can for patch management. And the problem is that there's good patch management and there's mediocre patch management and there's crappy patch management. And the crappy stuff makes you feel comfortable. And I'll put WSUS in the crappy patch management thing because it's more important for you to update Firefox and Chrome and Flash and Adobe Reader and whatever else you're using than the OS these days. Office needs to be in there. And a lot of these don't get all of those. I mean, some of them do, and Microsoft is hardening. I mean, Windows 10 has all sorts of hardening, and it's
Have
just
most
a train
organizations
wreck.
still not solved that problem? I mean, that was a problem, that was a 2007
Well,
problem.
it was.
I'd argue it's less of a problem.
It's less of a problem, but the quality of patches improved through the 2000s after the XP reset, through the late 2000s and early 20s.
Patching the third-party software.
No,
that's still a
actually,
problem.
it's still a nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still a
Yeah,
nightmare.
that's still there for sure.
And the problem is because it's not pushed out. Companies don't have stable gold images, and it goes back to the management platform. I've got one gold image everybody in the company uses. Oh, so everybody in the company has Java on the desktop because 4 people out of 2,000 need it. Whoops. Yep. Oh, okay. So we've got 2. One's got Java and one doesn't. So everybody needs Air. All right, look, we got 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we have 17 gold
No
images.
one expects the Senate Inquisition.
We have 17
Our main weapon
gold
is fear.
images.
Fear and surprise. Our 2 main weapons are fear, surprise, and 3 main weapons. Yeah, exactly.
And so you got 17, but then you have a bunch of older gear which doesn't support kernel virtualization or whatever, right? So you have 3rd and 4th generation I series, and then 2nd and so now you're.
Which image do I use? The gold one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack, I got to
But
really.
they can't push out technology to push out patches to Chrome and Firefox and Adobe
Well, so
and Java.
what you can do is it depends on the size of your organization and how many things. So you turn on. Thankfully, bandwidth has gotten cheaper, not more reliable, and not as ubiquitous as people claimed it was 10 years ago. But so you can let Chrome and Firefox just update themselves if you want. You can let a lot of
we all
things
know
update.
that doesn't work.
Yeah, you actually
that
have
well.
to close Firefox to get it to update.
You're right, Larry.
And I don't think I've closed this iteration of Firefox in 3 weeks.
Yeah, so
So
there
that's like
are
4
challenges,
versions old?
right? So there are those challenges. How do you update? The challenge is, okay, my WordPress is up to date. Are all my plugins? Is Firefox up to date? Are all the extensions? It's not there. Now, some people do have a good system. Desktop virtualization
Yeah, I
has
just did
some
that.
things.
It's up to date.
But it's
Ooh, Jordan Carver. Sorry.
I don't know.
Whoa.
What? Oh,
So, Jack, I've got a really serious question for you. If Advanced Notification Service, ANS, is, quote, evolving, what is the new solution? Is it Priority Notification Service, PNS?
yeah.
But what? So how did people use ANS effectively in their security and systems administration?
I use
program?
ANS. Wait.
So you would use advanced notification to see what was coming, think about it. If you were actually a advanced company or just an administrator who had gotten bit a few too many times, you would read through advanced notifications and think. And
think about what exactly?
How this impacts me.
At the absolute gut check level, you would say, kernel mode drivers, oh shit, all right, this one needs extensive testing. Right?
You could plan how screwed you are.
You
could kind of
could-
get a glimpse in the future
you
for
could
how much
all right,
effort,
you
level
could-
gauge
you
level
would
of
also
effort.
right. Yeah, I mean, so there are 3 kernel mode drivers, and they impact image processing and USB and font rendering, and you're like, okay, honey, I know I said I was taking the kids to Wally World next week, but that ain't happening, right? Now it's surprise, and I don't know how many organizations really were that effective. I don't know how many did that. In my home network, I would be like, oh, not updating that machine or that one until I update, until I do my extensive regression testing, which is, push it out to the wife's computer and see if she screams.
Wow, you do the same thing. That's awesome. I push my patches out to your wife's computer, too.
Honey, why don't you try Yosemite first, and we'll see how that goes.
What's Yosemite?
It's nothing. You'll like it. It'll be fun.
By the way,
No, I won't.
I got forced into Yosemite via a drink accident.
I'm sorry. That's horrible. punishment. Is it bad? How is it, Jaffa? You my guinea pig?
Actually, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad. I've run into very little trouble.
I was going to say, he got a new install you to do the Xcode and all that stuff installed from scratch anyways. So.
I did. That's right. So I didn't. Yeah. If you
didn't
had
have a migration.
If you had gone through a migration, it probably is a lot more painful. In a way, I probably got lucky. But
I think you can still raise Pat Gray's blood pressure by talking about what happens to audio processing.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you got your laptop drunk and then you got lucky, Joff? Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, that's exactly what happened.
That's not what that port is for, Joff. Good Lord.
Larry,
no.
Larry,
I
you
wanna-
talk
I
about
wanna
something?
Oh, no.
Oh, no,
No. You left with Mike. I understand. It's fine.
I do. Jesus.
Just shut up now while you're ahead.
I
You
do.
didn't
because
end
that's
up
what you
next
got in the
door at the
car.
treehouse. So.
I do want to circle back to something that Jack said, and that
Circle
was around around Microsoft patching. So it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, that people got a little complacent, right? Because Microsoft's on the operating system level patching got pretty good at it, right? Arguably. But now you're saying the quality fell off a little bit with some changes organizationally, and people are starting to do regression testing, and that's potentially a good thing. The question, it does beg the question, why weren't people doing that all along, right? I mean,
it really it depends on the platform. But for example, this one, I think it's hit the limit. There's a discussion on answers.microsoft.com about KB 3004394. All MMC functions now require administrator action, even though you're an administrator account. Okay, so UAC is broken. A Windows Defender service does not start. It 255 replies and counting.
Ugh.
And it's not just on this public forum. On one of the private ones I'm on, I'm seeing the responses from support, and it's basically you're screwed. Other patches, Windows 10 technical preview, granted, it's a tech preview, all bets are off.
right.
A lot of us can't update any applications or run Windows Update on tech preview, so we have to reinstall because they can't even on something as monitored as that. So where are we? And where we are is we need to patch stuff, but we can't rely on the patches. Those of us old enough remember the reason that all of the NT4 systems still running are running SP6A is because Service Pack 6 broke a few things that were critical in the enterprise, and they had to push out A, right? Those are issues that we had hoped were behind us in the late 90s, and they got better, and now they got worse. And you need processes. So in an ideal world, as long as we're just completely whatever, in an ideal world, you would have a patch management platform, you'd have backups that are reliable, you'd be able to re-image machines. In my fantasies, right?
Jack, what planet are you on?
All right, so just travel with me to this imaginary planet of unicorns.
Whatever's in your drink, you got to put some of that in mine.
And we're in good shape where we can do all of this. And here's where, close to home, it gets interesting because people who do patch management, because everybody does patch management now, and many people actually do it pretty well.
So they think.
And now they say, well, we found that you needed patches and we can help you put patches on. Therefore, we're a vulnerability management provider. And I'm not going to name any names because I actually like some of these companies that say dumb stuff. But people who do patch management claim that they're a vulnerability management provider. And so because they know about 80 or 90 applications you might run on Windows, you're going to replace, and not just the one that employs Paul and I, you're going to replace Carlos and Marcus Ranum and
Space Rogue.
And Jeff Mann.
And, it technically employs Ron, but Ron is also the owner.
But it could be any one of the top tier competitors that we have. We do a lot more. Way more. I've yet to see a patch management platform that will tell you your Cisco NXOS or iOS is not up to date. I've yet to see one that'll tell you configuration. I don't think
You're missing patches on your mobile device.
Yeah,
iPhone.
and so what happens is it's like using WSUS, and you just miss huge swaths of your vulnerability management program. I'm not saying that it's not great, and I'm not saying when you're stretched for money, but it's like, now you need this, and we got vulnerability management because my Windows boxes are patched. It's like, yeah, well, no, your Linux boxes aren't patched, and your Juniper networking gear is not patched, and your Palo Alto box doesn't meet configuration guidelines.
That's the big one too. That's another.
Your Palo Alto
People,
box
yeah.
doesn't meet the configuration guidelines, and right. So it's just if you're listening, let's get drunk at ShmooCon. Let's just go to the bar and get drunk and talk about this and move on to the next stories.
So Edith Ramirez, does anyone know who that is?
Not a
Anyone?
No.
She is currently the FTC chairwoman, and she gave a speech at the latest CES show in Las Vegas about the Internet of Things. And she says, in the not-too-distant future, many, if not most, aspects of our everyday lives will be digitally observed and stored. Blah, 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 blah. So basically, she says our privacy will be protected or not protected and will lose privacy, one that includes details about our financial circumstances, our health, our religious preferences, and our family and friends. Or you can just find that information on Facebook. So.
I was about to say, Paul, we have basically been trained by social networking, or at least some of us have, to post our entire lives on the network anyway. So that becomes kind of a non-statement because, hello.
The fact that, like, my smart hub and my thermostat and, all the other crap.
Hell, let's just cut out the middle guy and make your freaking thermostat post updates on Facebook directly.
Why not? I'm gonna write a plugin. I'm sure I could make
a plugin, man.
Yeah.
You could do it.
The scary part is I have a drop cam in my house now, and that's kind of frightening.
It sounds kind of dirty, actually.
So yeah, it
No,
does.
it's not in your bathroom, is it?
No, it's in my living. It's in my. If the door was open, you might be able to see into the bathroom.
Nice.
It's got a pretty wide. It's actually a really nice technology, but I mean, to kind of speak to what Edith is talking about here, is you're the drop cam, but it's privacy-wise, it's kind of scary, because the drop cam only stores to the cloud. If you want it to record, you only put it in the cloud. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want. What if I want to sit naked on my couch?
Exactly.
Someone hacks into my drop
you know
cam.
what? You have the option to be a Luddite if you want to be.
If I want to hang around naked in my house,
You also have that option, too.
I have that option. Although people might break into my drop cam and post pictures of me on the internet. Why you would want to do that, I don't know. But
Speaking of your moon,
my moon.
yes.
Speaking of my drop cam, that's a different kind of test.
Oh, moon, yeah. Did you see the MoonPig thing?
Oh dear.
All right. I had to. So
is that a meme or a meme?
No. So MoonPig is a greeting card company in the UK, one of the largest.
Wasn't that the South Park episode without? No, that was Man Bear Pig. But no, sorry.
Pig, yeah.
Right.
So MoonPig has an online app that you can use to send digital greeting cards and animated greeting cards and audio recording greeting cards, paper versions stuff.
Has a very powerful API too.
What's
right?
it called?
MoonPig, MoonPig. They have an app, and their app had hard-coded credentials that were used within the API. So every time you did stuff in the app, it went to their web server and did stuff. Hard-coded credentials, and the only distinction for traffic was a customer number. So if you changed that customer number, you got someone else's details. You could go in the app and take the app and say, "What are my details?" and it would retrieve name, address, phone number. You could also get credit card details. I don't remember what it flashed for. I think it had CVV.
Yeah. Now here's the deal: why aren't these people in prison like Weave was for enumerating? Oh, because you didn't have to run multiple inquiries. You just ran one, and it dumped it all out on the page in front of you. It was one API call dumped. Basically, the entire customer.
Oh no! I thought they had to change customer ID.
Yeah, you got to change. It sounds like you have to change.
Yeah, I thought it was a changed customer ID.
Oh, you mean you actually have to increment a number?
Oh,
just like we
right.
did.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Just like
Sorry.
we did.
Yes.
So, it was reported in August of 2013, to which MoonPig replied, "It wasn't an issue and is due to legacy code and would fix it soon." A year goes by, it gets re-reported to them, and they say, "Oh, yeah, about that. We'll have it fixed by Christmas." Christmas comes and goes. It's still not fixed, and after about almost 18 months, the gentleman who names this escaped me goes and releases the vulnerability. It gets a big stink on Facebook and all over Twitter, you name it, that these guys are a bunch of asshats. Was the disclosure timeline, and they haven't fixed it. And within the last day and a half, they have made all of their apps not work, and their API has been disabled. Go figure. It only took them 18 months.
Thus proving that you really cannot put lipstick on a moonpig.
That's one of my. You stole one of my jokes, dude.
Well, you know, it is the new year, Paul. I got to get ahead of you.
Yep.
That was
So,
good, Jeff. I like
in a world where we have to involve public shaming to get
In a
issues-
world where there's public shaming.
to get
It's a movie
vulnerabilities
trailer.
fixed. What are we coming to?
Moonpig.
Apparently,
We're coming to flying moonpigs.
Moonpig. Moonpig.
Alrighty.
See,
well,
I only talked about your moon. I didn't say you were a pig.
so back to my drop cam.
Nice.
That was a great story, Larry. Good one.
Moonpig.
I liked your Moonpig, Larry.
Thank you. That's what you said last night.
Any other stories worth discussing right now?
Sounds like Paul's ready to go home.
Every now and then we say this.
No, I got another
And-
show
and-
after this. I'm not going
and I'll-
anywhere.
And I'll say it again. We do have a backlog of stories because we've been gone for a while. So there are a bunch of interesting stories. If you haven't kept up with the world, take a look at the show notes.
Yep.
They're very quickly. There's stuff about who knows Google fighting Mississippi attorney generals, and if you're into the whole cyber. Wait, everybody has a drink, right?
Drink.
Because this
He
is two
said
drinks.
Oh,
cyber.
I'm
This
empty.
is two drinks. Cyber war. There was a German iron plant that was a.
Yeah.
That was a real one. I have a couple of stories. An older one from when it first broke a month ago, and one updated by Kim Zetter, who wrote the book on Stuxnet, which I won't beat to death. Space Rogue did a good review of. Basically, I was really prepared to not like that book, and it's stunningly well done. And so her perspective on this is interesting. But there's some interesting things that people are using. People are using internet connectivity to break stuff. I won't say
Physical stuff.
I won't say the buzzwords, but people, if you put stuff on the internet and people can get at it, they can break stuff. And this is a case that's a lot less cloak and dagger than Stuxnet was.
Yep.
A few other interesting things there. There's all sorts of crazy stuff there. The one to watch, well, I'm sure we'll be talking about again, is Marriott and their Deauth crusade. We'll be talking about that one more. Paul, you had a bunch of them.
Anyone can take down North Korea's internet connection. It's one of my realizations from reading my stories.
Well, the Lizard Squad, right? What is there? They did $6 DOS, and then they did a half price sale or something. It's
Well, it's only taken down a /22, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a /22.
you know what?
Robert Graham.
There's nothing
I can't get
impressive
the
about
article
that.
come up.
There's nothing impressive about that because I've seen BGP and DNS take
Yeah,
out
Lizard
much bigger
Squad.
swaths of the internet accidentally and for longer. Yeah.
So apparently it's a 10 gigabit link out of North Korea. That's what I've read on the internet.
Well, I think
yeah,
the whole
and they were offline, right? The whole entire country was
but how do you
offline,
get-
either to denial of the service or perhaps they're a Comcast customer.
if we just take little Kim, look, if we
They're
just
a
take
Chinese internet connection customer.
Yes.
I don't.
Guys, seriously, if we just take little Kim to Disney, we'd solve the whole problem.
Lil Kim. Lil Kim.
Lil Kim.
Wow.
Lil Kim was a rapper in the
He just needs a little bit of entertainment.
Throwing baseballs.
Years ago, as long as we're done, years ago, Jimmy Buffett talked about airdropping. What was it? It was go to Afghanistan or somewhere and take airplanes full of Victoria's Secret catalogs and $5 bills and drop them over there, and they would see the Victoria's Secret catalog, and they would have the $5 bill, and they would send it back to us. Our economy would boom, and it would open their eyes. I think we need an updated version of that for North Korea. And if we wanted to be nice, we could have some food, too, for the poor little starving people.
Little
there.
Kims.
Little Kims. We could like have planes go over, drop food on them, Victoria's Secret catalogs, and $5 bills, and they could. Actually, we'd have to update it. They'd have to be prepaid PayPal or Visa cards or something. But
And the idea
and
is
then they'll all stand in line. Well, first of all, to see what the rest of the world looks like.
and they'd send them the.
And so they would then they would order.
Oh, they would order
things with their prepaid
from
credit
Victoria's
cards.
Secret.
From Victoria, or we could do Victoria's Secret or
Frederick's.
Okay.
Or
So you're gonna outfit a foreign country in lingerie.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, then they've got a new. You're the pervert here. I'm just a
Why
nice
am I a pervert? I'm trying to
Listen.
You want to
All right,
outfit
listen.
other countries in lingerie? How am I the pervert?
All right, so obviously, I've got to be the businessman again. Listen, so now we have people in a country cash strapped.
But you
Who are
sent them
dressed-
the money. But you sent them the
But
money.
they send. But so it's
gonna send it back.
it's a seed fund. It's an economic investment because then they all have lingerie and sexy clothes, right? And now they have an industry.
Hey, how you doing?
So the North Korean
now
porn industry.
you want to
The
encourage
North Korean porn industry explodes,
Literally and figuratively.
literally and figuratively.
a word for that?
Victoria's Secret and Fredericks of Hollywood make the money back that we do. They pay a big chunk of it back in taxes. We get cheap porn. They have an economic base for their country. Capitalism takes over, subverts Little Kim.
by encouraging porn and prostitution.
I
know,
didn't
just
say
porn.
prostitution.
Okay, porn.
I'm not making a judgment on that. It's not my deal. But people
You notice
make
how he
decisions.
said that it's not my ideal?
It's not my. It's not my deal. I didn't say anything about ideals. I don't have any of those anymore at my age. I have no idea.
So you want to? I
Well, you better close this out.
It's
saying.
it's my own fault that I've slammed the laptop on myself.
Wow.
At least you
How
didn't
does
word
lingerie instantly create a porn industry? How does that work?
Because they're sexually
Because they're-
repressed society.
Sexually repressed society. They're going to discover stuff, right?
Because they can't get
And
it
we're
on
going
the
to send
internet.
it. It's right. That's right. They can't. They're going to have to homegrown and.
Where are they going to get the cameras? You sent them lingerie, but no
Th-
cameras.
It's a police state. The cameras are everywhere. It'll be a little grainy, but
So were the
really.
porn, so was
really,
the porn in the 80s. I mean,
until their health improves, do you want high
like
def?
VHS, you
Listen,
know.
until their health improves, do you want high def North Korean porn?
Oh my God!
I mean,
Where did we go? How did?
It was like in watching porn on cable when you didn't subscribe to it and you had to put it on like channel 6 and tune the cable box and you watch the wavy lines and like, ooh, wavy boob.
I don't know
Larry
what you're
know about
talking about,
this?
Larry.
How does Larry
Lies.
know about
Lies.
this?
Hey, Chris, Ruben's off the line, right? Please.
Oh God!
Wavy boob.
Oh, dear.
I would.
Everyone listening, I should apologize to you, but I'm not going to.
We're gonna take a short break and come right back.
come. There is no hope for you.
And we're back. With
How is this the show that Paul became the responsible one?
I was trying to be. I wasn't even.
Beth.
North Korean porn is all Jack's idea. That's all I'm saying. It's not my idea.
This is a moment. This is
I
a
actually
movement.
questioned it.
This is
I
a movement I
questioned
can get
that.
behind. Wait.
I questioned it. Okay,
Only for- only
Over
for a
and what
minute.
the hell?
for the record. I don't know what to say. And turn it over to Larry, and let's end this.
That's not me. That's not me either.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
So with that, Jack, I thoroughly stand behind your idea for North Korean porn. But you're right, not HD just yet. Over and thong. What?